Stop fighting for participation points at work. You're literally throwing your life away. Those 40, 60, or 80 hours, are they really that necessary? Honestly, are they really that necessary? You need to be honest with yourself here because all this behavior of just contributing hour after hour after hour without questioning it, it's self-destructive. It's landing you in the corporate cage. Today is a very tactical episode on how to live uncaged. We're going to talk about a specific strategy that I've employed and I teach my coaching clients. It's about valuing outcomes over hours. This strategy is going to give you the tools for becoming a force of nature at work and becoming in control of how you spend your time. You're going to see more clearly, and you can take these practices and implement them immediately. Lastly, if you want to go into more content like this week by week, I've got something for you. It's called Wednesday Wisdom. It's a 3-minute newsletter that I send out every Wednesday, and it's got a lot of hard-hitting content along these lines. So if this podcast is resonating with you, head on over to matthewdoan.com and give it a quick sign up. I promise you won't be sorry. All right, let's dig into the episode. Growing up, society taught you to follow the script by choosing a career path and climbing the ladder. But for many people, this promise falls flat. Work suffocates them and life becomes painful. Here, you're trapped in what I call the corporate cage. Fortunately, there's a way out. You can take control of your corporate job and unlock a life of freedom. I call this living uncaged. Hi, this is your host, Matt Doan. I'm a coach, creator, and entrepreneur. Uncaging people is my mission because it's been my exact life journey. This show provides you the stories, principles, and tactics to make it happen. Welcome to Uncage Yourself. All right, I've got 4 items for you today. It's going to be a quick hit episode. Number 1, let's talk about a very antiquated belief system, thinking about how hours are spent. Number 2, we're going to talk about how all these hours you're expending at work actually plays out in your life. Number 3, we're going to talk about establishing a contract focused on outcomes over hours. This is a contract with yourself and with a specific set of people around you. And lastly, we'll talk about how to implement this. Okay, the whole focus, outcomes over hours. That's our theme today. Number 1, this whole antiquated belief system that we're operating by in all the corporate elements that we work in today, we're battling a relic from the industrial era. From the early 1900s, Henry Ford and others, they put in place this way of working 40 hours a week because it made sense at the time. There was a lot of value to it. That's how we made vehicles and other things that we manufactured for the physical world. And yet, well over 100 years later, we're still employing the same way of working, this hours-based mentality for exchanging time for money. Time for money is still gripping us, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't need to be this way. Even if the environment that you operate within seems to believe this, you don't need to choose to believe this story. You can instead value outcomes over hours. 40 hours a week, that's the minimum. We see it everywhere. But if you're in investment banking, management consulting, some form of big tech, you're pushing upwards of 60, 70, sometimes 80 hours a week. All because you think that's what makes you successful. That's what you see everyone else role modeling around you. So why wouldn't you do the same, right? It's ridiculous though. Unless you're actually doing physical labor where you need to move product, you need to drive trucks, you need to chop wood, the hours measure doesn't make much sense. Most people, if you're listening to this, I'd say 98% of the people that are listening to this, at least, are knowledge workers. You are using your mind to create value. Whether you're writing code, building marketing content, delivering communications to external audiences, you're using your mind to deliver outcomes, okay? That's what you're doing. Outcomes matter. Just think to the end of the year. When you're doing your annual performance review, Are they looking at the number of hours worked? No, not at all. They're talking about the outcomes you delivered, the sales, the team building, project deliverables. Those things are what matter. The transformative change you create with your mind is about outcomes. Your hours don't matter, right? The real wealthy people in this world know that being efficient with your time and delivering the right outcomes is what creates a better life for you. We need to take this to heart day in and day out. Implement it in your corporate world in everything that you do. Instead of focusing on hours, we need to focus on outcomes. So get rid of this antiquated belief system. Okay. Point two, then, how this looks in practice today. I know I am a walking case study for someone that delivered hour after hour after hour because I thought burning the midnight oil, grinding nonstop, and competing with others is what made me successful. It's astonishing to believe that I ever thought that looking back, but it's what the game I played. It really ruled me. It was something else. I was battling 60, sometimes 70 hours a week in consulting. It was insane. And I burned out. I lost my mental and physical health. Work fell apart. Home life fell apart. And I had to rebuild myself. It's insane. I've told this story many times, but I see it all the time with my coaching clients. I've seen it with past colleagues when I was in the corporate world. And it's just this game of always showing up, getting participation points. Every time a meeting shows up on your calendar, you react and show up like 30, 60 minutes at a time. Just think about how much time you're giving up just because it shows up and you feel obligated to do so. It's insane. I've talked about this a lot, whether it's my social posts, my newsletter, and now on this podcast. I just want to get the word out that, hey, wake up. We're leaving so much life on the table. You have dreams for yourself of financial freedom, travel, time with family, self-care, getting in great shape, like all these things that you want out of your life. And yet you can't do it because you're giving up all of your time, all these hours at work because you feel this weird, strange obligation that emanated from the early 1900s. Okay. Break that spell. It doesn't need to be gripping you anymore. Sorry, Henry Ford, you're dead. You were great, but you don't need to hold us anymore. Okay. We're knowledge workers and we can do something different. Focus on outcomes. All right. Third point, this idea of needing to create a contract with yourself and others. This is something I work with my coaching clients on a lot, is writing down bullet point by bullet point what you are going to hold yourself to, the outcomes that you want at work. You're going to deliver certain types of projects. You're going to show up in a certain way. You're going to be there for certain people. Okay. And it's going to have a whole list of things that you're not going to do too, like last minute BS meetings and requests with zero context at 9 p.m. at night. Like, we don't need to respond to that stuff and give more hours. The personal benefit to you is often very minimal. It's very minimal. What really matters is you focusing on specific projects, tasks, deliverables in whatever field you're in, the ones that are truly essential. It's a timing thing, right? It's choosing your battles. We need to pick the right ones. So create a contract with yourself that says, I'm going to work on these things and not on those things. Tell yourself this. And there's also taking it to the next step, working with your trusted managers or bosses, whatever label you like using, people around you to say, here's how I'm going to operate. I'm not going to take every meeting. I'm not going to show up to everything that I'm invited to. I have a set of priorities and boundaries and things I want to accomplish in my life. And I'm going to focus on the most essential outcomes. When I need to, I'll communicate when I can't make something. But in all honesty, I am going to focus on the right outcomes. I'm going to move the team forward, and I'm going to value my own belief system and priorities because I've got one life. Sometimes you need to share that with others. The whole idea of building this contract for yourself and sharing it with others carefully too can be very valuable. It's a commitment that you show up to every day and you're going to operate in a certain way. So the last point, there's another idea. If you think about sharing this idea of a contract with other people, the way they react is going to be very telling. If you have leadership that goes, wow, I really respect that. Your time with family and wanting to travel more and wanting to live a healthy life while balancing good work. Like if you see someone react to that really well, you know that's a sign of a good, healthy culture, good leadership. Those are people worth being around. If you have people that are knocking on your door saying, "Where are you? Where are you? Why didn't you show up to the stand up? Why aren't you in all these meetings? Why aren't you responding to every email within 60 minutes?" If that's happening to you, watch out. That's a warning sign. That's an element where we need to take actual control over. We might need to change the actual team situation, change companies. There's a lot of reasons that that's a huge red flag to react to. Okay. And keep in mind too, when someone comes to you and they say, I've got these life priorities, I've got family responsibilities, I have these other goals in my life. Here's my long term career trajectory. Here's what I can give at work. Like, I respect the hell out of people that talk to me like that. They've got their priorities straight. Be that person. Be that person for yourself and be that person as a role model for others. Be the change you seek. Role model it. Okay. Last point. How do you make all this happen? How do you start to implement this philosophy of outcomes over hours? Okay, start here. 5 points. Number one, zoom out. You need to have a vision for your life. Far too few people think beyond the here and now. They're reacting to their jobs, they're reacting and just letting life fit in on the fringes. It's insane that we don't let life be the top level priority. We don't have a lifestyle in mind that we're going for. Instead, we just react to work and just do all the work we can. And then we fit in life on the fringes. That's insane. We need a vision for the lifestyle we want, the sort of freedoms we want to achieve, the sort of professional goals, the time freedom, the financial freedom, how we are with friends and family, all the beautiful aspects of life. We need to zoom out and lay out that vision for ourselves. Then you can zoom in. You can ask yourself, given that life vision, how do I design a week and my day by day? How do I design my week and my day by day? What sorts of flows do I need to have? What do my mornings need to look like? What does the middle part of my day when I'm focusing on my work need to look like? How about my evenings? Pay attention to how you're showing up, the energy you need to have, what the right sort of time blocks exist for the professional and personal aspects of your life. Set that intention, zoom in and design how you want your days and weeks to be so that it aligns with your overall life vision. This is fitting the zoom out and the zoom in together in one picture. Okay. Third piece then, ask yourself, given that that's how you want to be, that's how you want to show up day in and day out, what does work mean to you? What does your job do for you? Okay. Ask yourself, is this something that I'm truly passionate about? Or is this purely something that's giving me utility in life? For most people, you're not going to find true purpose, meaning, whatever you want to call it, in your corporate job. It just is a fact. If you're not finding it naturally, don't force it. Okay. Sometimes you just need to say, this is going to give me the utility I need. I'm going to squeeze as much as I can out of this lemon. I'm going to take all the compensation, the skills, the benefits, the doors that are open through relationships. I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to funnel it into my desired lifestyle. That's the whole idea. Okay. So ask yourself what role work has in your life. Fourth thing, what outcomes do you need to deliver at work? Given this is your life vision, what is the minimum viable set of outcomes? Let's call it the minimum viable outcomes, MVO. What is the MVO you need to deliver at work so that you are checking the boxes, still thriving, giving yourself the opportunity to get promoted, to earn more, to maintain a strong relationship? What are the minimum viable outcomes that'll get you there? Because what we don't want to go is stretch above and beyond that and get no return. All this burning the midnight oil is stupid if it's not giving you any return. Sometimes we need to do that. I get it. We have last minute project sprints. We need to get something over the finish line. Cool. But if you're doing it as a habit, that's dangerous. And you're rarely getting the returns on that as a personal reward. So be very careful in the outcomes that you must deliver and draw a sharp line so that you're not overdoing it. And lastly, when you know the outcomes that you need to deliver, you need to do the hard tactical work of interrogating your calendar and your obligations. I can guarantee you, if you feel overwhelmed right now, you can delete at least 50% of the stuff showing up on your calendar, the tasks, the meetings. Like there's so much out there that's non-essential, but you haven't questioned it before. You've never set it in context of what do I want out of life? What are the outcomes I want to deliver? So think through that. You need to interrogate those things, delete, delegate, opt out, make excuses, whatever it is. You need to buy back time and space in your days so that you can start living a better life overall and you're not giving too much at work. This is how we value outcomes over hours, okay? Stop playing the industrial era games. So that was the how-to. Essentially, as a recap there, it's zooming out on your future vision for yourself, zooming in on the weeks and the days and how you want those to unfold, asking then, what role does work play in your life? And then finally, what outcomes must you deliver? And how do I tactically adjust my calendar and my obligations to deliver on those outcomes? Okay. So we just went through a lot. The focus today was to emphasize this philosophy that'll change your life, to help you go from caged to uncaged. This is a very important thing that you do. We went through 4 things. One is the craziness of this antiquated belief system that we need to work 40, 60, or 80 hours. That's insane. You're a knowledge worker. You don't need to do that. You can choose to operate differently. Number 2 is how this plays out in real life. It's very damaging. It's toxic. You need to come to grips with this and realize that there are other ways to succeed in corporate without giving all these hours. Number 3 is that we need to establish a contract with ourselves and others around us carefully so that we show what we're about, that we're going to deliver certain outcomes, but we're going to value our personal life priorities and we're going to stand firm with this. Trust me, you'll gain self-respect and you'll gain the respect of others as long as you're surrounded by good people. And lastly, we talked about how to do this, implementing it tactically. So that was a lot. It's very important that you implement these things in your world. These are going to be the ways that you get a lot more control of your days. And when you control your days, this is how you control your career trajectory. It's how you control your life. It's how you compound things day by day into the lifestyle that you dream of. These are the tactical things you must do. You can choose to just wave me off and not believe this stuff, but you can also just end up back in the same place of hating how much time you're spending at work, feeling all sorts of regret. It's your choice. I'm here to help. Hit me up through the website, hit me up on social. There's so much that we can do together. Believe me, this stuff works. I've done it. My coaching clients are doing it. I hope you take it seriously. Bring it to your world. We'll talk soon.
Hey, Matt here. Thanks for listening to Uncage Yourself. For show notes and more content like this, head over to uncageyourself.fm. And if you liked what you heard, I'd appreciate you leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Until next time, be well, my friend.